Hi, I'm Ian Carpenter from Live1.tv here in New York. We're sitting today with Gonzalo Duran. He is a candidate in the New York City Mayoral election 2025, 11 months away. Welcome, Gonzalo, and thank you for coming into the studio.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Certainly. Please tell us about you and your campaign.
Well, my name is Gonzalo Duran. I was born and raised in the Bronx. I'm a former United States Marine Sergeant. I'm currently the CEO of Devil Dog USA Incorporated, the veteran nonprofit helping the community. I've been operational for over 11 years. I'm also the vice chairman for the Bronx County Conservative Party. On the side, I'm a chaplain, and on my free time, I mentor at-risk teens, to help make the community better.
Yeah. What made you decide to run for mayor in New York City?
Well, honestly, it's not something that I thought that was going to be available to me ever. And I've been in politics for about 10 years now, but for the last 8 years, I've been behind the scenes. And these last 2 years, I've moved up within the political party, and I've also run 2 campaigns, each one doing better and better. Now, at the same time, this opportunity came up for the Conservative Party to put somebody up for the mayoral candidate, and I think I'm the right choice. I think my background in the work that I've done, it puts me above the other candidates within the party. So not only do I want to make the party well known, I want to make sure that the principles of conservatism are out there and have an opportunity to be in this position.
How would you bring those principles to the position as mayor?
Well, one thing, having somebody with the kind of background that I have makes it a lot easier to try to do that, because, when you have, let's say Democrats that have been so far in the progressive towards the left, and then you've had other conservative candidates that have been so far to the right. Me as a moderate conservative, I think I bring in some balance between the left and the right. Some people who are not too far to the left or too far to the right. It's finding a little sweet spot for me. One of the things I believe in is transparency, leadership, anti-flip-flopping. These are all things that I'm running under my campaign to say, these are the changes that I want to do. So when it comes to leadership, let's say for one example, instead of putting my friends and family on high key positions, I want to make sure the ones that are within the rank and file have an opportunity to speak and be put in those positions as well. Just like I came up from the bottom up, I believe individuals from the bottom and to the from the rank and files have an opportunity. For example, the NYPD. Right now, you see the way, putting these random people into these positions. Mayor Adams is on his 3rd person for the commissioner. And then you see these chiefs and how they've been able to operate. You have scandals after scandals, indictments, on the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So I think it's a high opportunity for the conservatives to step in.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And for the viewers who don't know, there really has been scandal after scandal at the very highest levels in the NYPD, with 2 of the commissioners completely replaced, and the current commissioner, Tish, who I believe she was a police officer before she became commissioner. I hope I'm not misstating that.
Well, she has a background in law. She did apply. She was like a deputy director of information, I believe. I remember like security information, something like that. So she has a well-rounded background. But does she have the position to be the commissioner of the NYPD? That's a whole different story.
Right.
I'm assuming right there, 1, she jumped at the opportunity, and 2, nobody else wanted to take it after all the things that were going on.
Right, and as soon as she got into power, boy, did you see heads roll. We saw just last week the deputy of the NYPD, I believe his name is Jeffrey Madry, who had to step down amidst absolutely scandalous accusations that he was sexually abusing lieutenants. That's yet to be played out in the court, but I believe just yesterday his house was raided by law enforcement, and they're taking away documents and what have you. And then we had the head of the Internal Affairs Bureau also removed. So it really has been a difficult time for the NYPD. And that stress, I think, is also coming down to the different ranks. There's been some tragedies with some of the police officers taking their own lives, 2 of them within the last few months. So we really do need help in better societal organization, definitely. So tell me, what would be some of the things you will do as mayor from day one?
Well, I don't want to speak about day one. I do want to say that, the platforms that I've been working on for many years are things that are interested. Anybody can come up here and say, and most people will come up here and say, I want better housing, I want safer streets, education, and a bunch of slew of other different things. Obviously, I want those things too, but the way that you approach it is going to be different. Now, I can't speak about too much about the Democrats or the Republicans, but I can speak about what I specifically want to do, and I just want to hit everything strong. I want to do a little things that they say they want to do, but not actually try to put the policies in place so that it can be happen. So, for example, when it comes to, let's say something like affordable housing, one of the biggest problems that we have is that we go off of the AMI, which is a calculation between the HUD and other factors that calculate what the minimum income, what the housing prices should be, all these things. Well, I want to change the AMI. I want to exclude the outside city limits. So let's say for Congressman Epson district, he put in a lottery for housing. I think the minimum was about 90,000, and then the highest you can go was 125,000. Most individuals in the area don't make that type of money. Same goes for the Bronx, Manhattan, and other parts of the country, the city. And if we change those dynamics of those numbers, it would open the possibility of more individuals being able to apply. Now, the lottery system is a system that they have in place, but I don't think it should be. One way to eliminate the lottery process is by increasing the numbers for the percentage of those complex. So you have, let's say, lobbyists and special interest groups when the buildings and these real estate companies and stuff like that coming in and saying, we're going to give you like 30%. Well, the deal is about 30% of the housing that we're building up for affordable housing is given to those individuals right there. Well, I don't think it should be 30% if we're the ones funding the majority of those real estates. It should be 50, 60% or more. Mm-hmm. Now, is that going to be happy for those lobbyists? No. But as you can see with the Mayor Adams, his current indictment is that he was favoring those developers and lobbyists and special interest groups. So that's one way of me saying, bam, back off. We're here. We want the people to who are spending their money to be able to live in these houses.
Yeah, and for our viewers who don't know, the current sitting mayor was charged and indicted in September for serious campaign finance violations, including bribery. But those aren't the charges that got the most attention. Most of the attention went to some of the hotel upgrades he got and perks he got. But those were perks that he got from a foreign nation, I believe, from Turkey. Upgrades on airplane flights and hotel rooms. That got the attention, but there's still very serious charges in there.
Well, one of the problems is that, and this is going to not only affect the current administration, but the administrations that come and the ones in the past as well. What constitutes a bribery at the federal and the state city level? And those things, I personally think that when we're doing campaign, I'm saying, hey, send me the money, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give you my vote or I'm going to give you special treatment onto these individuals. And that's something hard to say when you see those text messages that were going on, well, the ones that they at least made public. You do me a favor, I'm going to do you a favor, I'm calling it in. Right. Those are, quid pro quos right there. We know that.
Yeah.
And right now the campaign finance is so in this. It's crazy. Let's say for my congressional race for the 2024 election, Richie Torres had $9 million compared to the other two, myself and the other individual, less than $100,000 in donations. What he's going to do, and he only spent less than $1 million. So what he's going to do with the other $8 million plus dollars that he did, which he got from IPACs, from the mostly Israeli interest groups, right? Which he gets a lot of donations from them, but he also gives a lot of money to them as well.
Yeah, people have talked about trying to get the money out of politics, but I haven't seen a plan to really do that.
Yes, that's going to be a hard process to do, but look, it's in the best interest of the people. And I'm not trying to do a pledge for myself. This is for the individuals out there. If you're discontent with corruption, then stop giving these people the abilities to just get special interest group, help to lower the other candidates, third-party candidates, independents, Republicans, and the other Democrats as well. So
yeah, people are surprised. I was surprised to learn that a candidate in New York State anyway, and in New York City, you can get matching funds. So in other words, if your campaign raises $10, $1,000, $100,000, or $1 million, that in the mayoral election, the city can match your funds, and in some cases can even match it to 8 times, I think, 8 or 9 times. That's a lot of money for somebody to all of a sudden have in their hands.
Yeah, so for example, it's 8 plus 1. So they'll times it by 8, and then you'll get that $1 as well.
Right.
So, it's beneficial, but it's not easy as well. You have to get, I don't know the exact numbers and how it is, but let's say for a city council district, you need maybe $15 from 80 different people. And, within a district, and that sometimes in your own backyard is kind of hard. But if you have a wider ground, let's say for mayor for New York City, it's a bigger opportunity. But the only problem is now you need like 225 times that, So it's not an easy thing, but it's reasonable. But once again, that has the people that have to support you, but you also have to have individuals working for that as well.
Mm-hmm. And in our current sitting mayor's case, the Department of Justice raided one of his campaign finance managers and took her cell phone away. They also took the mayor's cell phone away. That's why we're talking about incredible scandals going on. Let's talk about some of the other candidates who are coming into this race with scandals. It's rumored that Rudy Giuliani is exploring coming into the race. He was charged, he was indicted and convicted in a defamation lawsuit that apparently has nearly bankrupted him. He's been selling his personal belongings, including a ring that he got from the New York Yankees for the World Series. And it shows the desperation right now he's having and problems. But he's exploring running for mayor again. What do you think about a Giuliani entering the race?
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't recommend him to doing it, and it could be seen as exploiting the people as well. A lot of individuals see them run, makeshift candidate campaigns just so they can get increase in money. And there's a lot of money coming in when people are running second place, if you know what I mean.
Right. Gonzalo, we're going to just take one moment here, a break, to give time to our sponsors. And don't forget to follow Live1.tv on X. We are at Live1_TV. We'll be right back with Gonzalo Duran, who's running for mayor in New York City 2025.
Astoria has a new store, VG Energy Stones, at 3814 Astoria Boulevard near Steinway Street. Gems, chakras, crystals, good for your mind, body, and soul. This beautiful store has all kinds of gifts for all age levels. Nothing is more important than your mind, body, and soul. Come over to VG Energy Stones. Take care of your mind, and your body will follow.
Okay, we're back right now. We're talking with Gonzalo Duran, who's running for mayor in 2025. We were talking about the possibility of Rudy Giuliani running. You think it's not a good idea. There are rumors, though, that maybe his son is going to enter the race, Andrew Giuliani. Any comments on that?
Not really. I've met him one or twice, in the last year, so particularly, but I haven't had time to talk to him about politics. I would assume, let's say, the Republicans would like an opportunity for someone at his level, at his age, to come up more than his father. Okay. I do so.
By the way, before we completely let go of Mayor Adams, who's really trying to put on a smiley face at every press conference right now and trying to shake off the heavy charges that are against him, he was denied matching funds, right? So he's not going to be able to get the amount of money he got the last time around. Another candidate who's potentially entering the race is former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Have you heard about that report?
I've heard of that, and I've said it more than once. I don't think he should, based on the scandals that he's had, and with his treatment with the senior citizens during the nursing homes. That just, in my opinion, he can if he wants to, but I don't think anybody should take him up as a candidate in their slates.
All right, now tell me what do you think about the possible contender for the Democratic Party, their leading candidate?
Well, I mean, they have like 20 different candidates, I think, at this point. I think 15 have declared, or 20 have declared, and 13 are like on the campaign finance board and stuff like that. I think Michael Blake would be the number one contender for the Democrats. I think Sewell would be for the Republicans, and I'm hoping myself for the Conservative Party.
Uh-huh. Tell us about the Conservative Party. When and how did it start, and what's your involvement with them?
Well, the Conservative Party started, the New York State Conservative Party started in the 1963, I believe. And more if they were just separating themselves from the Republican Party because they thought they were going, I guess, too soft. Now, it's kind of funny that the New York State Conservative Party, we are hard on a conservative scale, but I believe that a lot of places have opened up, especially in the city, to be more, I don't want to say liberal, that's the wrong word, but more in the centric or maybe moderate levels, especially in the city. And, the New York State Conservative Party has over, I think, 150,000 registered conservatives across the state. And they come in when they vote in big numbers, it's always double that. So for President Trump, I believe they had over 330,000 votes for him, which puts them as the third largest political party. So now we're on row C for over, I want to say since 2010, something like that. So now when you go through the ballots, you see Democrats, Republicans, Conservative, line C. I am the vice chairman for the Bronx Conservative Party, which I've been for the last 2 years. I am also the district leader for the 79th district. And, this year I'm particularly running for mayor because I believe the momentum that we had in last year's election can bring about change now more for us, not only in visibility, but also in numbers and quality of candidates. I myself personally put in over 250 candidates in the last 2 years, myself alone. County-wise, last year we did 15% increase. This year we're looking at 25%. And, I'm looking forward to pushing that even more. When people know and understand the things that we're working towards, transparency in government, fiscal responsibility, then imagine seeing, Blake, Sewell, and myself in national television fighting it off.
Okay. I'd like to ask you about a couple of things before we wrap up the interview. One is, what will your relationship be with the district attorneys as mayors? I think this is really important. And also, let's talk about Trump coming into his second term. But let's start with the DAs. What kind of relationship will you have with the district attorneys?
So this is one of those things that I mentioned earlier in our conversation. What are the policies that we're going to put out there? I want to make it very clear to the DAs that I want to work with them. But for us to have a better and safer New York City, one, we need to have fully funded, fully manned NYPD. And when they put in charges and arrest people, we can't have a revolving door anymore. We have to put people, if people don't have the fear of reprisal of what can happen when they do something wrong, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing chief of the departments doing illegal stuff, lieutenants making lies, and mayors taking advantage of special interest.
Right. It really is, to use a cliche, a cesspool of corruption, unfortunately, in New York. So what do you think about Donald Trump coming into a second term? We're just a couple of weeks away until him actually being in the Oval Office.
Well, yeah, some people might find it surprising, but he wasn't my biggest fan. I was not his biggest fan back in the day. But over this last year, this election, the Conservative Party did endorse him. I did my due diligence and my work as a vice chairman and did everything I needed to do to get him, put him into his position within the people in New York City. But watching how the Democratic Party, berated him, and looking at him pushing through and perseverance, the things that he went through, we go as candidates as well, at a lower level, of course, but still we get the same animosity towards us. So I see him as someone pushing forward that I can look up to now in this past year. So he won my vote for for him standing up and serving our country. Now, for the people that out there that may seem, well, Trump is a terrible person or whatever, in the end of the day, if you don't like the fact that he won, then blame yourselves, because then you didn't push hard enough. And now, he was president. The world did not come into a disaster. It was a good point for us, and that's one of the reasons, the high points of why he won again. And he won in a number where the increase in like 50% of the Hispanic population across the country put him into power. So, and then on top of that, and you look in New York City, the increase in African Americans and Hispanic Americans putting them into power makes a difference. We have to see that a large portion of the city and the country were pushing towards red. And as a conservative, I see that this is an opportunity for us to move forward. Him as a leader, let's support him. But at the same time, there's a checks and balances for the people that may not like what he's saying right now.
Wow. We're very appreciative that you came into Live One. Definitely we need to hear from other voices. I think that anybody who plans on voting for whether it's Giuliani, Cuomo, or Adams, that's another form of insanity. So we're grateful that you're running in the race. Is there any last things you'd like to tell the viewers?
Well, first, where I lack in my legislative abilities because of my career, I exceed that in the workload that I've done. I have had my hand in politics for years. I've done a tremendous amount of work for the community. It's not hard to find anything that I've done at GonzaloDuran.nyc or at GonzaloDuran.nyc in social media. And I challenge you guys to take this opportunity to look at another candidate, someone outside the box, somebody who's willing to do the work that needs to be done, not focusing on, my next job or the higher position. If it takes me to do this job and to do it right, to be the bad guy, I'm willing to be that person right now.
Super. Well, there you've had it. And now you have another choice to make in November of 2025. Gonzalo Duran on the Conservative Party. Thank you for following Live1.tv. Don't forget to follow us on X at Live1_TV. And thank you very much, Gonzalo, for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've had the pleasure today to talk with Gonzalo Duran, a mayoral candidate in New York City's election coming up November 2025, 11 months away. You can follow the candidate on his website, GonzaloDuran.nyc, and on social media at GonzaloDuran.nyc. Again, follow his website at GonzaloDuran.nyc. and on social media, Gonzalo Duran NYC. Thank you for watching.